Alright, good Sunday morning, everybody. What I was going to do today, again, just like yesterday, we decided not to do till tomorrow. So, said I was going to rest on Sunday. But I cannot sit in the house and just sit there and watch TV or something when I got a job on the bench. I just can't do it. So, we moved the little sander out here so we don't get all this bone dust in the shop. Plus it really stinks when you grind bone. I'm going to take this smaller one first and we're going to flatten it, and then we'll start taking a lot off of here. Now I've got a fresh 80 grit belt in here, and I'll show you all what that looks like. Flip it around every now and then. I'm gonna do this the same way. It's gonna take a while though. Now, on these Harbor Freight tools, the sanders, they're pretty good tools, but they're weak. They're not like my Porter cable, the big one, the 4x36, the heavy one. That one's got a lot more RPMs and a lot more power. It's got a bigger motor on it. But these, they're okay. You just can't overwork them. You can't really bear down or you'll bog the machine out. But other than that, there's nothing wrong with them. They'll last. I started with 2 of these, modified them and everything else years ago, and they last 2 or 3 years. Depends on how much you use them. But let's get to grinding down on this one. I ain't gonna stay here and bore you with all that, but we'll see it when they get done. Alright, let's check our measurement. Roughly. .40, 1.39. We're still a little bit thick. So remember I said don't overwork the tool. That little motor is hot already. So this one's pretty much as thin as it can go. We need to take a good bit more off of this side. Let that motor cool down just a touch, and then we'll get on that. There. Stay right there. Don't move. Alright, we got these just about as thin as I can get them without losing width. I'm going to lose a little bit. But remember, this is a little oversized to start with. So let's line this up here. We want this to set in just like that does. A little bit of a reshape at the end there, but not much. Making some pencil marks here. My hand's in the way. Sorry. Alright, this will be cut pretty big to start with, and then we'll trim it down. Alright, let's go. We're going to go to the sander. Take this off, that off. We'll hand file this. Then we'll have to hand file our little shoulder in here. But we'll get rid of all this other stuff first. Alright, I started that shoulder cut on the sander, on the belt grinder, and I got it marked about to where it's got to be. So I'm going to continue on the belt sander until I get it close, and then I'll finish it by hand. It's easier that way because it's got a radius in it, and the more hand file it, the longer and longer and longer it'll take. So to get the bulk of it off of there, we'll just do it over there. Alright, the little shoulder cut idea is not going to work. It's too small to get down in there. So that'll be okay though. It's going to work just fine anyway. So this will go in here, fit up in there, and that will flush right up against there. Okay, just like I've done all the other ones. Thought I'd try something new and it didn't work, and that happens. So now we're going to clean this off good, and we're going to epoxy this together. Get it all lined up right. Make one piece out of this. Then when it dries, we'll do a little more shaping on it, because once we get it back, get it epoxied here, I don't want to put it back on the sander or anything, because I don't want to mar up any of that. So let's mix this a little epoxy, do that. That'll take a little while to dry so we can work it, and we'll be back to see something else. It's going to be just fine. Alright, I've been watching glue dry. Alright, got our side epoxied on. I marked, I've got to trim just a little bit right there, and we'll trim out this handle here, flush it up, and like I keep saying, this blank was a little bit bigger than the original, but it's going to be just fine. And on the tang, I cannot drill it. I was going to drill another pilot hole, a pinhole, but this is hardened steel. You cannot drill hardened steel. And this is stainless, so no drilling that. But I did put it on the big grinder, and I cut some little serrations in there, and that'll help that epoxy grip. Not that I think it needs it, but just in case, it won't hurt. So let's go get all this trimmed up. We'll get this one side almost finished, except for polishing, and then we'll match this side to it before we set it and epoxy it. We'll do this one side first so we can drill the pinhole, so we can locate it, know where it's at. Moving slow today. No need to get in no big hurry. We should have the handle on and glued up here in an hour or so. Alright, now we're getting somewhere. Okay, we've got a good fit on this side. Now before, I'm going to epoxy it on there now, this side. Before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and retape this up. Tape everything up so we don't get the very, very minimum bleed over epoxy on there, because it's easier to keep from getting it on there than it is to take it off. You can get it off, but it's just aggravating. So we're just going to put our tape here. Just like that. Y'all seen me put tape on before, ain't no big deal. Protect this. Anyway, we're gonna tape all this up and start putting the epoxy on and get it clamped. I'll show you that. All right, here we go. We're gonna start epoxying this on. And first, I want some down in this hole on this side. This will get a little bit messy. I should be wearing my rubber gloves. I've got plenty of them. I don't know why I'm not, but okay, let's go ahead and get us a coat here. Well, I actually don't need none there. Put a little skim of it on there and be okay with it. Okay, we want plenty embedded up in here. We want some here. There, let's see, let's make sure the tang is seated down in there, and it is. We get a nice flat right there. And put us a clamp right here, hold everything straight. Didn't actually need it there yet, but a little skim coat ain't gonna hurt nothing. Make sure we're full in here. Because that plus the pin plus that inside is gonna be plenty enough strength to hold this. Put the other side on and it'll be the same way. Now the other side will, when this dries, I'll lay it down, I'll trace it out and cut it and trim it to match this. Then we'll just have a little bit of hand sanding or orbit sander and polish. As soon as this dries, then we'll put that one pin in. We'll drill that pin hole and put the other side on. Then we'll depend on, I think I'll put pin here, pin here, pin here, pin here, mainly for looks, and we'll talk about that when we get there. Alright, back to watching glue dry. I'm watching the 1987 Southern 500 race on TV. Because I missed all of them races back in the day. I was, where was I at? I was in the Army back then. We was down range or something. Couldn't see them. Alright, this side is pretty much dry. Enough we can work with it. I drilled out the pinhole. The strength pin, what I'll call it. Now we're going to take this other side. Get it centered up like this. And get the bulk of that stuff off of there. And the final sanding and polish when I put the pins in will even it up really nice. Now let's go ahead and take care of this right quick. Then we'll mix up some more epoxy, put that on, and it really needs to dry all the way cure, so that'll mean overnight. And I put in about a half a day on this Sunday, and I think that'll be enough for today. Finish this up tomorrow afternoon, maybe. Tomorrow's a town day, got things to do. Tuesday I'm obligated to help one of my buddies, but we're not far. Very, very close to being done. Alright, got us some more epoxy mixed up. So let's move this down a little bit. I don't want to drag it across the table. Fill up our slot down here like we did before. Now that will really, really reinforce that hand guard. And the handle. Okay, not going to be bashful with it. Go ahead and put it on there. Make sure that gap is good and full, which it is. It's hard to do this all pretty quick and fool with this camera at the same time, but we'll get it done. Okay, put it like that. Okay, we're pressed against tight. Now I left it just a little bit proud, so we got room to trim it. Okay, looks good. Got a very, very good fit on that. Put the clamp there. And a clamp here. Yeah, that's right. There we go. Like that. And once again, I should be wearing my rubber gloves, but I'm not, because I'm a dummy. Don't say it. And we just put some alcohol like this. Clean my hands up a little bit. And we'll let that dry overnight, unless I decide to come back out this afternoon. I think I'll go inside and spend a couple hours with Mama. Unless she runs me off, and I'll be back out here. Now, what I think I'm going to do is we'll go ahead and call this part 2. Some people like the real long videos, some people don't. So we had one long one, we'll have one semi-okay short one. My hands are still sticky. And on part 3, we'll finish up the handle and do the sheath, because we got to build a sheath for this one too. Sound good to y'all? Sounds good to me. Now, being as yesterday was Saturday, Mama made me shave and get cleaned up. I get a bath every Saturday, whether I need one or I don't need one. That's the way it's done. Thank y'all for watching. Thank you for your support. Check out the links below on how you can get yours done, or build you a knife, or do anything else. Thank y'all, and I'll see y'all in a day or two.